Hey all, here at osmvtxreviews.com. You're watching our video review of the Digi Draw tracer made by Rainbow Art Markers. This is a very interesting piece of kit because you might remember that a few months ago we reviewed something called the Easy Tracer projector, which projected an image onto a larger wall for you to trace onto a larger canvas or a piece of paper. The Digi Draw is essentially another solution for you to trace things. However, as the name, but contradictory to the name, this is anything but digital, unlike the Easy Tracer. Another differentiating factor between these two products is the Easy Tracer was $90, whereas the Digi Draw is only $20. So it's also a lot more inexpensive, but it's still very widely commercialized and able to be purchased at stores such as Michael's. There's also a lot of different art stores might sell this, craft stores, and also online at Amazon.com. So it's very inexpensive. The packaging is also pretty nice. It comes in this nice little box where you can carry with you, and it's very portable, so you can use it, carry all the accessories, and then you'll be ready to go if you take it with you on trips and adventures. But taking open the package, you'll notice there's not much actually in there. That's when you might start noticing that the Digi Draw doesn't have a lot of high-tech designs going in. It's a very clever mechanical implementation for allowing you to actually trace things. In the box, we have access to a set of rainbow-colored pencils as well as a pencil. There is a pencil sharpener and an eraser over here. It's all labeled by Digi Draw, which is also pretty nice. And those work pretty nicely if you want to use colored pencils to trace your items rather than other markers and accessories. Over here is a sticky note sized pad where you can actually use. For some reason, it's in there, not really sure why. There's also a Rainbow Art marker, which seems to have absolutely no use in this kit because it's not anything related to being a tracer. However, I think the company just decided to throw it in there because Rainbow Art is the company that produces this stuff, so I guess they just wanted you to know that this is where their origins came from. Over here are some instructions for how to use the Digi Draw. As you can see here, it's basically just operating on very simple physics methods. It uses two pieces of transparent plastic for you to create this angle of rarefraction and also angle of refraction to create this also angle of incidence between these two projected images, and then you can trace it. Again, it shows it off. It seems pretty easy in the instruction manuals, but unfortunately, it's not as easy or intuitive to use, and the tracer here has to be extremely talented to produce results like that. But the premise, again, is very mechanical, very undigital, which is kind of ironic, but again, just uses simple mirror-like effects. You might even have different mirrors that you played around as kids to create this digital tracing effect. And it even includes some templates for you to trace from if you're a younger kid, from maps to different sets, and there are even different templates that are a little bit more professional, like calendars and even cards and stuff like that. Now, something you might take note of is the tracer does have a few issues. One of them is actually getting the tracer to be set up properly. There are two included pieces of transparent plastic where you have to put into these two slots for the tracer to actually work. And unfortunately, the slots are not very deep. And as a result, it's difficult to actually get the tracer to have these slots fit in properly without falling off. For example, if you put it in lightly, it might accidentally fall off. It's very difficult to actually set it in there, and then it can fall off at any moment if you touch it. So it's very fragile, and it's not very nicely designed in terms of actually having these slots work very well. And again, it's difficult to get this to set up properly the first time, but there we go, we have it now. And you can kind of see the setup here. Another limitation to this particular tracer is the fact that it is limited to basically a piece of paper. So if you want to trace anything really large, you can't use the DigiTrace. It's only limited to the size, again, of a piece of paper we can place below here to trace an image that you place above. So that's a limitation. Another one is, again, it doesn't work as well as it seems it does. So for example, if we have a image of Santa Claus here that we wanted to trace, we have to put it through these little utensil holders on the sides here, and it's going to show up. You can kind of see on the screen here, it shows up like so, and if you look underneath here, you'll be able to actually see what you're tracing. So when you're actually tracing the image, you'll put one image on the left hand side of the tracer. You have to look through the right hand side to see the image, and then you can put a pen or something and start tracing below to have the image. However, the tracing experience, again, is very, very difficult because there seems to be a separation layer between what you're seeing and what you're tracing, because again, there is this distortion, and even though it looks easy on paper, it's actually very difficult to get a great trace. And for example, we tried tracing it, and the results weren't as detailed or satisfactory as we really wanted, but it does come out like so. So it's good for basic crafts, but definitely not great for professional artists looking for something really, really great. So it's good for kids, maybe toddling around, but again, it's not as good of a solution for professionals looking for an easy way to trace content onto larger pieces of paper. Another thing you might notice is the fact that because this uses like a mirror effect, images are reverted. So if you're planning on using this to trace images as is, you'll be disappointed because they are reflected and they come in with a reflected orientation rather than their original orientation. Another thing here is that you might know we use this red marker here because without using something that's really deep like a Sharpie or a red marker, it's difficult to see what you're actually tracing. Especially if you want to plan on using the included pencil, it's difficult because you can't see graphite being traced below here. It's difficult to see even more, and it's already pretty difficult to see. So that's unfortunate. So overall, the Digi Tracer, although it looks like a very cool premise on paper, I don't think it's just very executed very well. Although the name is very cool and it's like Digi paper, it sounds like something that might be really high tech. It's not really that high tech. It's not very nicely designed. The results are kind of limiting, but still, at only $20, it's kind of what you get what you pay for. It's kind of a saying that comes true in this example. But again, if you have any kids that want to do some basic craft ideas, this might work. Definitely not as good though. So for professional usages, so keep your limitations modest is definitely a lesson to be learned in this case. Otherwise, pretty good packaging. Definitely works in some limited areas, but overall, I think this is even worse than the EZ Tracer if you want to have a really quality tracer, and the EZ Tracer was even pretty mediocre, to be honest. So at the moment, there isn't really a high-tech version of a tracer that we really have seen and really enjoyed. So thanks for watching this video review of the Digi Tracer Digi Draw here at osandvtxreviews.com.